Hey everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here a while. I want to discuss a topic that a lot of mixed race people might go through that I've noticed periodically throughout my life, where if you're specifically mixed with black and white and your white side doesn't treat you favorably, or if you just go through some things like racism or whatever it might be, sometimes in some parts of the black community, there might be some type of celebration or vindication. And I've noticed that even in the comment section where I'm discussing white women in particular, there's a lot of black women that come on and say that that's what we get basically, or we feel the same way with how you guys treat us when we're dark skinned. And although I definitely understand that because I've seen that happen on both ends, I've seen mixed race or light skinned women bully black women that are dark skinned. And I've also seen it the other way around. And I've myself had it the other way around where I was also bullied, but I have never bullied or thought I was better than anyone, let alone a dark-skinned black woman. But the problem here is when mixed race people already are going through this duality between the two races because we're literally black and we're literally white. We're not just one race. It's our own sector. But when you have people that also get discriminated against, like in the black community against white people, and then a white person also treats mixed people the same way, there shouldn't be some type of celebration or saying, well, that's what we get for thinking we're better than black people, because that's really not the truth about mixed race people. That's really generalizing and saying that everyone is like that when obviously a lot of mixed people aren't. I would argue that most mixed people don't think they're better than black people. It's just a way where they're biracial, so they literally have both, and they're trying to navigate just as much as everyone else because we do have some Eurocentric features and we are half white, so that is part of our family, but we also have color, most of us. I mean, if you're not white passing, then you're of color, and we feel both sides. And then it's just this duality that we have to navigate. And when we're in the black communities, a lot of times because of white supremacy, they are put on a pedestal because of the way that they look, mixed people. And it doesn't mean that we think that we're better than anyone. Just because maybe a few people might say that they are, it doesn't mean that that's the truth. And for me, I know that I don't think that I'm better than anyone. I just was existing and trying to get through my life. I was raised to be mixed race. I was told that I was mixed race. It's obvious because my parents are two different races. So I was just trying to get through my life as a normal child and young adult. And I would have a lot of backlash and people being racist towards me on both sides. When it comes from the black side, though, it's a lot deeper than the white side because I've mentioned this numerous times in videos, but white people, for the most part, if they are racist, they are just racist and that's it. They're not going to try to say, well, you're part white today because of the way that you're acting or because you believe in white rights or you believe with what I say. They're not going to throw us in and out of white spaces. Pretty much, if you're not white and look white, you're not white. And even if you look white, but they find out that your dad or your grandma or somebody is black, then they're not going to accept you as being full white. They'll accept you as being mixed or being part white, but full white is full white. That's why people like the KKK and the Nazi, those groups, that's why they specifically say pure white. They don't even want white Jews or Catholics. They want white Protestants because it really specifies the group that they are looking at. White, pure. And when you step out of that, in their eyes, you're tainted. So it doesn't matter if you're 6% black and all of the rest of it is white, you're not white in a racist person's eyes. So that's what I'm trying to say here. So that's the extreme part of it. But in general, white people just are existing too. They don't really care about all of this race thing. They're just saying you're not white, you're mixed. But for some reason, in the black community, it's this big uproar of conflict and people saying, well, see, you're not white. See, they don't feel that comfortable around you. And it's not like we ever said that they did. It's just us literally having two separate parts that are part of us at the same time. Two groups that historically in the US especially have been at odds, and there was racism and discrimination towards Black people from white people. And then here we are as the biracials or mixed race people that have both of those things in us that we just want to embrace. Because obviously not all white people are racist and not all Black people feel this way about biracials and white people. But the historical part of it, it does put biracials in this really weird situation that we're just trying to navigate. And I do think that it has a lot to do with our ancestors and the history, because even the history behind being biracial in general, most of that came from SA, where white slave owners forced themselves on the Black slaves. So that also is a big part of this whole nuance that we go through as well. It's obviously true that white people do view mixed race people as more palatable or acceptable in their communities. It doesn't mean that they're automatically saying we're white. It just means that they do recognize part of themselves in us without calling us white. And it's similar in the Black community, where a lot of Black people can look at a biracial person and say, we do recognize some of ourselves in them, but maybe they're not Black. And the reason why it's such a big difference is because with the one drop rule and how historically biracials were made, we were considered Black at that time because it was the white slave owners forcing themselves on the Black slaves, and we were part of the slave family. We weren't really with the white family. Sometimes they would have their children in the homes, for example, but it didn't mean that they were calling them white. It just means that they were putting them with their other children as well, but they didn't have the same rights at all as their white children with their white wives. So there's a big difference there. And there's also that hurt that comes from it that goes down the generations. We even see in the media, because it's still ran by white people, where there are mixed race and biracial people that represent Black. And it's not unambiguously Black people for the most part that are representing that. Sure, there are some celebrities that are unambiguously Black that can represent, but when it comes down to the popularity of the Black culture, it's always someone who is mixed race or looks ambiguous. Even in rap, like you have Drake, he was looked at as Black, but he's obviously mixed. Yes, you can tell that he's mixed, but he's not fully Black. Or Zendaya, people like that. Jordan Dunn, all of these people, they have Black features, but they are mixed race or biracial, and they are the representation of Black America. And that is not the true representation of Black America. That's not what your average unambiguously Black person looks like. So the erasure is coming because of white media, and they're putting biracials or mixed race people as the face of that. So that's what I mean with white people do accept mixed race people in a certain light. It's not saying that they're white. It's just saying that, hey, you can be the representation of Black, because it still kind of promotes their image too, with a twist, because it's not unambiguously Black. It's a mixed race person who has both features. So it's not completely erasing Eurocentric features. However, it is erasing the Black Afrocentric features, because that is not what your typical unambiguously Black American looks like. And that's why I think there's this big issue when it comes to mixed race and Black people specifically, with accusing mixed race people of thinking they're better or they're higher up or that people are jealous of them, where jealousy can come from any race, any color. It doesn't matter. There's obviously mixed race people that are jealous of Black people and vice versa. There's white people that are jealous of Black people and mixed race and Asian. People get jealous of people. It's not really a race thing. But on my channel, when I'm talking about mixed race people and our experiences, this is what I've noticed with the two races, the Black and the white specifically. I do believe that some of this vindication or celebration that I see in some Black people towards mixed race people that aren't getting the preferable treatment does have a lot to do with the representation and also the building us up, tearing us down effect. Because in the Black community, mixed race people for the most part are built up, but then they're tore down when something happens, like Meghan Markle. I remember when she first married Harry, and everyone was saying, we have a black princess, we have a royal family now, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as she started receiving racism from the white royal family and other people that were racist, they're like, see, your white side can't save you. You're not white, no matter how you look and no matter how much white that you might claim, or, you didn't claim black. But look, now you're just black. And it's just a weird situation where, I mean, obviously I don't know Meghan Markle at all, but I can imagine what she's gone through. Is she is literally just trying to exist and survive. I don't think she was trying to be white or even pass off as white, because if she was, she would have never even shown her mom. But the fact that she was there and then she also received racism, it just goes to show that complexity that mixed race people do go through, because none of us have ever tried to say that our white side or other white people are going to see us as white or not see us as white and not be racist towards us. Of course, we know that it comes with both. That's why for mixed race people, it's so hard, because we will get it from both sides. And when we get it from the black side, it's worse, because that's to be expected from the white side. I mean, for the most part, they might say some things like they're fine until you do some accomplishment like marry a prince or become Ariel. They're fine with you until you do something like that and step in their space, because now they want to uplift their image as they've always done. But in the black space, it's like everything's acceptable. Mixed race people are acceptable. The erasure is acceptable. Let's put Drake as a black man. Let's put Zendaya as a black woman. But then when it comes down to really being black, now we're not black. Oh, you're not black enough. And that's what you get for thinking that you're better than us. And that's what I'm saying, that has to stop, because this is why I say mixed race people, we need our own category, where it's literally we're both black and white. White people have their own category. Black people need to have their own category. Not saying we can't come together, but at the same time, this is what happens when you accept certain people as your representation. And then as soon as something happens where it's not pro-black or it's not perceived the way that you're wanting it to be, then all of a sudden we're knocked down a peg. And it's saying that's what you get because your white side doesn't accept you either. It's a really weird thing that we go through. And I know, again, that some mixed race people might think that they are better than black people or even some white people. I don't know, but I don't think that it's the majority of us. A lot of us have a really weird outlook when it comes to things. It puts us in a weird position because we have loyalty to both. Historically, our loyalty was with the black community, but there's also this connection with our white side, especially if your family, you were connected with them. Like my family, both of my parents, they're still married. So I was around black and white people all my life, and I had acceptance from both sides when it comes to that. But the majority of my problems outside of my family, I hate to admit it, but it came from the black side. It came from black people. And I don't understand that when it comes to that, especially if you're not trying to say that you're better. So it's a real sensitive topic. It's just the nuance that goes with it when you're mixed race. But this is something that I've noticed in the community when we are doing something and we happen to come across white people and they don't treat us preferably or the way that people might perceive us to be treated, or in the black community we're treated differently as well. And then there's just this celebration of this is what you get. Your white side don't accept you. I just wanted to talk about that. The only way to really combat this is to push for the change where brands should be held accountable, and also other biracials, black and white people should be accountable, because I understand if you are doing your job as an actress, for an example. But if you are called to do something that is supposed to represent unambiguously black people, or if you're in a movie and it's supposed to be a black character, then technically that should be a black person doing that. It shouldn't be a half black person doing that, because we all know what features look like. There are always exceptions to rules, but that's why we run into this issue with, oh, well, some black people can have looser curls too, or we can look mixed too. Well, of course, that's true, because black people come in all shades and all sizes, but at the same time, what features typically look like, that's the rule. Okay, there's exceptions and then there's the rule. The rule is how black people normally look. White people have a specific look. That's how they look too. They can have different hair colors and eye colors and skin tones even, but you know what a white person looks like. You know what a mixed person looks like for the most part too. That's just the way that it is. And if more people were representing their own category, we wouldn't have this much issue with that. And that's what contributes to any type of celebration when mixed race people, I guess, get the reality of they're not white, where none of us I can't speak for everyone. I don't consider myself white. I consider myself mixed, and I don't try to be white or say that I'm white. I just say that I'm mixed, and people perceive me however they perceive me. Some people might think I look more white. I don't think so, but that's just the way that it is. And I just wanted to bring this to light because I've seen this a lot lately. I know that it happens, but it shouldn't, because no one should be celebrating when other people are going through any type of racism or whatever. And it's not a reflection of this is how mixed people think about Black people, so that's what we get if white people treat us that way. That's not true. That's all I have to say about this topic, but please comment and let me know your thoughts down below. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.